All right, we're coming in to read our solo message for today. This is our last message for this page. So before we get started, we're going to give you something to think about, okay, before we dive into this. It says to read this passage carefully, listening to what it tells you about sin's impact in our lives, on our lives. And for the think, it says, how does this passage fill out your perspective on sin? What it's like to live with it and what it's like to live without it? How does our sin affect us? From Zephaniah's point of view, why does it say God wants us not to sin? So why does the Most High want us not to sin? All right. So, and the title for this passage, it is At Home in Okay, that's your title. All right, we're going to be reading from Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 9 through 13. And if I do see, I don't think if it's in here, y'all know moving forward, God is going to be Most High. All right. Y'all put God there if you like. But I just don't feel comfortable saying that. All right. But I try to go accordingly to be respectful of others as well. But y'all know I'm a Most High girl. Okay. All right. In the end, let's get started. Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 9 through 13. In the end, I will turn things around for the peoples. I'll give them a language undistorted, unported words to address the Most High in worship, and united to serve me with their shoulders to the wheels. They'll come, they'll come from beyond the Ethiopian rivers. They'll come praying. All my scattered exiled peoples will come home with offerings for worship. You will no longer have to be ashamed of all those acts of rebellion. I'll have gotten rid of your arrogant leaders. No one pious stuttered on my holy hill. I'll leave a court of people among you who are poor in spirit. What's left of Israel, that's really Israel. They'll make their home in the Most High. This core holy people will not do wrong. They won't lie, won't use words to flatter or seduce, content with who they are and where they are. Unanxious, they'll live at peace. I like that. That sounds good. I kind of want to read it again, but we're going to go on. So that comes from Zephaniah. And the title is what? At Home in God. All right. So it's just talking about the change. All right. The change, which is also was a promise anyway. All right. Because it says what? They'll live at peace. And all of these corrupted leaders and people of power, okay, there'll be no more. All right. When that day do come. That's really what this is saying here. Okay? How things are going to be turned around. And those that had been kind of disobedient, they even going to change their tunes. Okay? So I encourage anybody to go back and just read over Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 9 through 13. I think that's a beautiful read. All praises to the Most High. But we're going to go over here, and I want to give a little bit more insight before we get into the actual cards. It says to reread Zephaniah's description of a life that is cleared of sin. How does it make you feel? Timid? Hopeful? Sad? Does it feel foreign and unfamiliar? Become aware of the Most High presence with you now and expose to Him your response to this vision of life. Explore with Him why the passage makes you feel the way you do. All right. So, I like that. And it said God in home, at home in God. I think that's what it said. All right, so we're going to put some cards on it. So, Spirit, I think that was a very beautiful, very touching, heartfelt passage from Zephaniah. I know that is something that I also have really been pushing and promoting since day one. All right. So we know that there is a God outside of the Most High who also can relate to what the Most High daughter been saying. All right. All praises to the Most High. All right. Something say look up. Let's see. Let's look at something real quick. Let's look up something real quick. Let's see who this is. Okay, so Zephaniah is a prophet. He is Zephaniah is best known as an Old Testament prophet who prophesied during the reign of King Josiah. He is the most famous for proclaiming the day of the Lord, a theme of fierce divine judgment against the wicked, coupled with the ultimate promise of restoration for a humble, faithful regiment. All praises to the Most High. All right, so Spirit, let's put some cards on it. What else can you share? And we're not doing any tarot. What else can you share when it comes to either the passage, Zephaniah himself, or the God that was in the midst with Zephaniah in spirit? Okay. We're going to look at these. These are going to be our bonus. We're going to look at those last. Now, these have little quotes. We're going to read the little quotes as we go through, okay? We're not putting no tarot on this at all today, okay? I would, like I said, I will encourage each and every last one of you to just go back and read that, all right? I think it's a very heartfelt passage, all right? And I think we all can really, well, I won't say we all, because we already know from Daniel, everybody wasn't going to be into agreements with a lot of things, but however, some things were meant to be. It was meant to be, and it came. We don't have many. That's too many. Alright, we're going to stop it right there. Alright. So, we're just going to read these few cards. And then we're going to see what we got for our bonus. And we're going to be done. Okay? Alright. So we got here Death and the Maiden. It says invasion, boundaries. Okay? Violated, dominions. Okay? It says the Golden Phoenix. It says something you thought finished burst back into your life. And we have here the Fairy of the Highlands. It's time to be brave. And the final one of this deck says the Eclipse Mermaid. A powerful energy shift. That lines into a certain extent, because we was talking about both the good and the bad, right? How things supposed to do just that, shift. All right. And for our bonus, first one we have perseverance. It says, I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Perseverance. The second is worry. It says, I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. The third one, surrender. I can release my need to control. And the final one, I understand that everyone has their own unique path and challenges. Judgment. So that was our solo message for today. I didn't feel a need to go into any tarot, but I did end it with words of encouragement, additional words. But when you think about it, everything really lined up to what we read from Zephaniah. All right, chapter 3. All right. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll talk to you next week. Well, I'll probably come in and put something out, but just take care. All right.